Coming to you from Homebrew Studios, it's Bob and John's Super Duper Variety Power Hour with your host, Bob Katie,
and John Piccarillo.
Welcome to episode 124 of Bob and John's Super Duper Variety Power Hour.
Welcome aboard, folks.
Making noises already?
Just with the music.
Look at you. You got all like coiffed and everything. You got your coif all set and everything.
Yeah, I think the last show I was pretty scruffy.
Yeah, you were. You were all like Mr. Scruff and stuff.
Yeah, well, I got a wedding this weekend.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You do. You have a
Wedding in Vermont. Yeah, it's a two-nighter because there's going to be a lot of outer-towners.
Outer town. You are. You're going to be one of the
I'm an out-of-towner. So there's a lot of
Outer-towners.
out-of-towners coming in, and they'll be staying. So
Coming back on Sunday?
So they're actually having a party Friday night, like a pre-wedding party, and then the wedding Saturday.
So how does that? You're not going to be. Are you going to be up there for the pre-party, or
Yeah,
are you taking the day off?
I took Friday off. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Telling you, folks, I've been spending a lot of quality time with my family.
Get the fuck out of here! No, I cannot.
I realized it because we got the trip to Italy coming up. That's with my with parts of my family. You know,
you're going to need a vacation from your family after all this.
I know. And it's in the summer, which I see them the most.
Anyway, yeah.
I guess I'm there every other weekend, no matter what. So now that I think about it,
Yeah, but you see them every weekend during the summer, so you're right.
that's right. You're right.
So you see them more between late Memorial Day and Labor Day.
Which is great. I don't,
It's all the John, all the time on John TV.
Hey! Yeah, baby.
You just want to be the reincarnation of David Lee Roth, don't you?
I wouldn't. He's a
Young
little.
David Lee Roth.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I mean, he's a little cocky for me. I wouldn't want that attitude, but when he was glitzy and glamoury and able to do flips and kicks and stuff like that and sing
And had hair.
and have lots of hair, that was. I'm convinced that if you grow your hair like I grew my hair, and I never cut it, other than maybe to cut the dead ends or something, maybe not even that. I think I'd still have a full head of hair today. I feel like after I shaved it bald for the first time, it never, ever, ever came back that way again. I used to have ringlets of curls.
What's the sound I want?
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Well, hey, we disagree about certain things, and that's one of them.
Yeah, I think no. I just totally disagree. I totally disagree because there are some people that you see have their hair.
How come there's so many old rock stars that still have long, full heads of hair?
And then there are ones that do not.
Well, who knows if they had shaven their head prior to elderliness?
Look at Satriani.
Mature-
He's a cue ball, and he was losing it before
I can't
when he had
picture
longer
him
hair.
with
He had the curly hair. He had kind of afro-y hair. Yeah. No, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. I don't care what you do.
I think tonight's going to be a debate night for me and you. We're going to not agree. We're going to disagree to not agree.
Disagree to... No, we are going to agree to disagree.
That's right.
Why do you want that beer so bad?
Because he's thirsty, dummy.
Oh, Steve would love that. He would be all into this because he likes the instigator.
I know. This would have been the perfect show, and he had his opportunity.
That's right. So tell him to fuck off.
Fuck off, Steve.
And not Tom's alias Steve, the real Steve.
The real Steve. Yeah, exactly. Be
Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you just kiss my left nut?
Not right now. My nuts are very tender.
Oh yeah, that's right. Are we putting that out there?
Are we coming out?
Hey, whoa! This just turned on me. What's going on here? I don't think that way.
No, I have to
letting the
explain.
cat out of the bag.
Yeah. I found out on Friday that I had some tenderness. I think I talked up all the way back for about the golf tournament.
Yeah,
I
you
think
did.
it happened.
Happened right around that time, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Well, no, not the sneeze, but some strange pains.
No, but I thought the sneeze happened like a week or two before the golf tournament, and then you were like, "Oh," and then you did that, and you're like, "No, I got to have them both."
Yeah, there was something on both sides. I don't know, because I overswung near the end of the tournament, and it was real pain over here. But then I get these sneezing attacks. The fucking CPAP machine did that to me. See, this is my problem with life, folks. Okay? I'm supposed to do things to make myself better and healthier and live longer. I guess that's the ultimate goal. So I quit smoking 7 years ago, I think it's been 7 years since I smoked cigarettes.
Sounds about right.
And within days of quitting smoking, I was in the doctor's office with my blood pressure rocket through the roof. Now, granted, I started to quit with the patch, but that obviously was the bad idea with the blood pressure. So I only used the patch for like a couple days.
And you were living with a nuts.
Oh yeah, I had a spunky girlfriend at the time.
Spunky girlfriend. Fucking crazy.
She made me mad. I'll never forget the time I got so mad. Rather than punch her, I ran.
would be bad.
I ran and kicked the door, back door open, just ran. And I ran. I think I had shorts and flip flops on, and I just ran around the whole Union block. My shorts and flip flops. Somebody was thinking something was weird. So anyway, my blood pressure goes through the roof. Then I had to go on blood pressure medication. Well, even with the medication, they couldn't get it right. It was still high all the time, with lots of different meds. A couple of them that made me feel like
side
shit.
effects.
Yeah, real bad ones. There was one I could barely walk up the stairs. My legs.
Oh, that was a
That was a statin. That was something different. I said, get my blood pressure straight before we fart around with them.
The other blood
Jesus
pressure
Christ.
stuff was that when it did get it to work, you were like,
It was awful. It was awful. So I've been on the same ones, but it's still not completely down. But through the process of trying to figure out what's going on, they decide that I have sleep apnea. So I have to try this sleeping machine, a CPAP machine, at night. I still haven't got used to it. The first month, I just throw the thing off. I didn't even know I did it. Just throw it across the room. Friggin' thing. Jesus. So at least I get scores.
You're all angry now.
I get scores for every night. And I'm in the 80s. So that's pretty good. And that's 80%. Like, that's the plus. That's not events. Because without the machine, I was at 36 events an hour. And they consider anything over 30 needs treatment. So ever since I got that fucking thing, I get these sinus attacks like once a month.
it's like having allergies, but you don't have allergies.
Yeah, it's the worst. I know it's because of that damn thing. I think, yeah.
Well, we know it is because I went and got tested for allergies because I also have a CPAP machine, and they told me you ain't got no allergies. I'm like, well, why do I have these? Why do I feel like this sometimes?
It's what it is. So here's another thing that I bought into. Said, okay, this might bring my blood pressure down.
Which it has. Which it has.
It has.
That's the only reason why you're sticking with it, because it has.
I know.
Otherwise, you'd be like, fuck that.
Yeah, I know, exactly. It is definitely coming in. It's becoming more reasonable.
Yeah.
But I'm still on the meds. I was hoping by now I'd be off the meds.
They said it took a little bit, so.
All right. So anyway, now I get into one of these sneezing fits, and my daughter even says to me, because I was going at it, I was just, achoo, one right after another, and it wouldn't stop. And she says, be careful, Dad, you're going to hurt yourself. And right after that, achoo, and I was like, oh my God.
You said you had a little thing going there, though, before they told you, right?
Yeah. The last time they grabbed my balls, that guy grabbed them like there was nobody's business. I was like, Jesus Christ, don't do that. God, I don't want my balls squeezed. Don't suck them, flick them, pinch them, none of that. None of it. Leave my balls alone.
Especially if your doctor's doing it. That's very odd. I think you need to go see a new doctor if he's doing all three of those
I
things.
haven't been back to that guy.
No, I'm talking about if he's doing those other things too.
Oh, no.
They're sucking him.
No, that'd be weird.
Hey, Doc, what are you doing down there, Doc?
That guy was a specialist. Does special things. He violated me. You know? Think about it. I wasn't uncomfortable. I wasn't comfortable at all. Any time while I was in that office. Because they also check what's that thing? Prostate.
Oh, I haven't had that.
They get in there and kind of pinch your sphincter. It's fucked up. And it wasn't nice.
They did that for you?
Yeah.
I thought we were supposed to be like in our close to 50 or something to do that. It was like I thought everything was around 50 when they stick the tube up your butt and they stick a finger up your butt and they do all that stuff.
You're pretty much
You hit 50, you're getting things in places you don't want.
Exactly.
Fingers and tubes in places you don't want.
sucks. And everything takes longer to heal. I still have bruises on my arm.
Oh, from that mistake. That's only been a couple weeks.
I used to be 3 days and I was done with.
Oh, that's because your body's all fucked up from everything else.
And the listeners, of course, are probably saying you could probably stop drinking.
Nah.
That would be too easy. I talked to my
it's 7 o'clock and you've still got your pants on. What's the occasion?
I talked to my doctor about it, and it's really funny. Like, shit, twice now I've had to go for something. Oh, I got strep throat from Samantha,
Yeah.
and then I got the tick, so I had to be on antibiotics twice. And my first question is always like, I don't have to stop doing that. And he says, no, you can wash the pill down with a beer, John.
Sounds super cool.
Yes. All right. That's what I wanted to hear. That's probably the worst news doctor can give me is like, hey, I got to put you on something. And you can't drink for 9 days. What? I don't want to. I'll get over it.
Goddamn right I do. So here come 2 words for you. Shut the fuck up.
We haven't even done one of those things.
I know. I was being polite, letting you get done with your.
I'm
I know, you were.
I got a lot on my mind.
Oh boy, he's got a lot on his mind. All right.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Time to make the chimmy fucking chongas.
You can find us at bobandjohnspodcast@gmail.com, on buzzsprout.com, and iTunes, or
At Loose and Buttery on the Twitter and Instagram or Facebook Live.
or on our YouTube channel or Facebook page at Bob and John's Super Duper Variety Power Hour. You were filling the glass, and I'm just like, I wanted to sit there. I just wanted to be like, oh, he's just starting to pour. You can finish Bob and John's podcast. Do it really fast and can catch you.
You know what I think I want to add on to mine?
What's that?
When Jay's not here,
Uh-huh.
what are the ones he does? He does the untapped
Oh, untapped ones. His untapped and your untapped.
That's it?
Yeah. And
Sounds like you have a dick in your mouth.
and on Untapped at whatever
that's
your
right,
guys'
that's right.
handles are. I don't know what they are, so I don't do that. I don't do that to man.
I was just
So
thinking,
I don't
feel
know.
like I'm leaving something out, but I guess that's the beer.
Oh, I think you are. I think you haven't done something that you've been doing every show.
Play with my balls.
Your balls are showing.
No, you usually give somebody a point and a wink, and hey, how you doing?
Greg. You're probably watching it on Friday. It comes out Friday, right?
Yeah.
I think he catches it on Friday.
Well, Chris
Friday, Greg.
Chris caught the last one. Like he was just like, yeah, just getting done with it. I'm just like, that thing just posted like 5 seconds ago.
That's why the band gets a thumbs up.
Yeah. Chris was like on it.
Well, we did give him a heads up. It's going to have some of.
Well, like half the show last week was about our group texting phenomenon that we hear.
Damn funny. That's why.
It is. It is. It's damn funny. And then, our Tom's alias is Steve and Tim.
Yeah, we use them all the time.
Yeah, you started it again.
I did one today.
Steve, that racist bastard. Racist Republican bastard he is.
We got to use them more because I had to go back and look at the texts this morning before I sent that text to remember which one was who.
You don't remember which one was who?
Steve is the racist.
Republican, yeah.
Yeah, and then I couldn't think of the name. And the other guy, Tim, is
our leftist hippie type of guy.
He's going on the plane with me in flip flops.
Now, I have a question for everybody out there who's listening.
They can't call in.
I don't care. Maybe we'll get an email. Everybody in the band, email what you think. Something, so then we can read it. Do you think it's appropriate while traveling on a plane to wear flip-flops?
Yeah.
As an adult.
Right.
I don't think people should be stuck on a plane in a small area cylinder for hours with your ugly, stinky feet.
This is the first time I'm hearing this. If Bob never mentioned it, I wouldn't have even thought twice about wearing flip-flops. I'm going to Italy. It's going to be warm. I'm leaving here. It's not cold.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I wear flip-flops?
It just doesn't seem appropriate on a plane.
You don't wear flip-flops.
I do. I have flip-flops on right now. I do wear flip-flops.
Those are sandals.
Oh, same. In this case, it doesn't matter. Sandals, flip-flops, whatever.
Because your toes are sticking out. That's your.
You should have proper footwear on that.
Well, now there were some questions of safety. Because I did a quick look because I knew we'd get into this, and there was. I don't think there's a rule about it, but some.
Well, I didn't say there was a rule. It's like one of those unwritten rules of baseball. It's like an unwritten rule of traveling. You shouldn't be having your big ass ugly feet where people can look and possibly catch you with.
Do you think I should be self-conscious about my donut?
No.
Why? It's embarrassing. It's more embarrassing than my feet, as far as I'm concerned. Because I'm selling.
You have your priorities backwards on that.
I'm just telling you. That's what I'm saying. It's more embarrassing. I'm going to bring it because I'm not going to get my ass fucked up while I'm in travel. So I'm not going to take any chances. I'm going to stay comfortable.
Once you sit down, people will probably forget about the donuts even there because they probably won't be able to see it. Your big ass ugly feet, they're going to be able to see.
With any good luck, I'll have my family next to me.
If you could get away with that, that might be better, but I just don't. I don't know. I'm like,
see, he's got me thinking about it. Before this conversation, I wouldn't have even thought twice. Like, because I'm going to bring shoes because I'll need them. The Vatican requires shoes. I don't know if I can even get away with my sneakers on that one. And I was thinking about sneakers because of the amount of walking I'm told.
I would think the Vatican would allow.
But everybody's got to remember that I live in these things outside of work.
Yeah, I know.
As a matter of fact, that's what I asked Tim this morning.
Yeah.
I asked Tim this morning to the group. It was
Would Tim wear flip-flops? All the women were wearing flip-flops at work.
Yes, because that ticks me off too.
And you were like, should Tim wear flip-flops? And that's when I chimed in, only with dress socks on.
Well, you know what?
And then I went to the market this morning after that exchange. Within 20 minutes, guy with flip-flops and socks on, which I don't get.
I can't do that.
Like I've done it around the house in the wintertime. Like I've needed to grab footwear to come down here or something.
Yeah.
But I don't go out in public that way. That's just ridiculous.
No, I don't do that. Which brings me to a good point in doing some quick research. And here's something I do not like: they say you may or may not be asked to put your flip-flops in the tray that's going through.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not a fan of walking around barefoot, especially in public places. I might as well lick the floor as far as I'm concerned. So that part I don't like. And then I'm stuck with guy with socks and flip-flops to make it through. I can't do that. I'm not doing that. So I now I have
guy.
some concern. You know, no, I won't do that. It's so uncomfortable. I'd rather have shoes. If I have to have socks, I might as well have shoes on or sneakers.
I
Whatever.
agree.
I don't have the most beautiful feet. I understand that.
They fucking ugly.
But I am comfortable in flip-flops all the time. The only time I regret them is I go up and down the hill at camp.
And
And the worst is it when they get wet a little bit.
Let me rephrase that.
Trying to walk up.
They're not ugly as in like he's got fungus and stuff on them. They're ugly as in he's done so much fucking damage to them that they're just fugly looking feet.
I think.
I mean, guys' feet are fucking ugly anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've torn the toenails off a couple
You
times.
see, the damage he's done is made them look ugly and ugly.
They're not the most beautiful. And I know I could probably pedicure and stuff, but the one here has it's bad. I already know what will happen is if I go there, they'll dig it out because there's like a cavern there. We're like, I gotta clean out stocking pieces.
They have like a grinder and like have to flip the hill.
Well, I know they would dig underneath it and clean. Oh, that just makes everything worse. Believe me.
All the Asian women going, "Oh no, you can't! Oh no, I can't deal with him."
I'm not. It's not that.
Get the grinder.
I will reconsider the. But why is it fair? Why is it fair that the women can literally wear flip-flops up in the administration area?
Oh, I don't know. I think
men
I
can't.
think that's kind of ridiculous.
I think it's-
What is that? Is that a rule that women can but men can't?
I can bet you.
That's terrible. That's a terrible. That's a terrible rule. And if that really is a rule, anybody who even said anything could ruin it for everybody. You know, the women would probably hate you for bringing it to their attention.
That's right.
But it's not right. There's no way. There's no way. No, they would get clobbered for it. You know what I mean?
Everybody wants to be fair. Hey, give me my fair footwear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And to be honest with you,
He's going in Speedo. Hey.
It's funny. Some people call flip-flops tongs.
Tongs.
And when I think
Thongs.
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 Yeah. When I think of thongs, I'm thinking
Yeah.
Speedo.
Dong, 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 dongs. No, Speedo is different.
Right.
Speedo.
Thong is a string in the back.
Speedo is number one. Speedo is a make of bathing suit, technically.
Technically.
But they also call it, because Speedo made it famous, that especially you go over to Europe, you go over to Italy, and guys wear the Speedos, which are very tight, minimal bathing suits.
Yeah.
That fit
So
very
fit right in.
Yeah.
I'm going to the beach. Yeah.
Dear Lord.
baby.
Well, if you gotta go, you gotta go with the bowl wrap banana hammock.
Hell yeah. and pictures to prove it.
I'm sure his parents will love that.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Awesome.
Seeing their son strut down the beach in that thing.
I have a little Speedo. Amy got me
Oh yeah.
because I still have the. I've always wanted a loincloth, like a real one with leather, like leather loincloth.
I am not gay, senor. You just make me do gay things.
I don't want to be gay in my Tarzan. My email is tarzanpic@yahoo.com. I want to. My inner Tarzan needs to come out. As a matter of fact, every year at the end of the year up at the lake, once a year, I practice my Tarzan howl at the lake. Mm-hmm. I do that at least once a year to try to hone my skills on it.
Well, I think this year you should bring your cell phone down with you, and you don't need service. Just audio record the, so we can put it on the show.
I could do that.
See?
I'll do that.
Record it. I'm always telling you to do some of these things. Record it for the show.
All right. I forget about my phone up there because it's kind of useless.
Yeah,
It's
away from the camp.
I do check it. Yeah, exactly.
You can't get phone calls, but you can get.
Oh, I was running low on gas. I went for a ride, and really weird. Somewhere, and I don't know what, because I couldn't find it again. I went through an area not far from my camp on the boat. Usually, I could never get a signal until I passed the bridge.
Yeah.
That's a long ways away. And somewhere halfway between me and Majestic, I got a signal because all your text came in. I got one from Samantha.
Wow.
And then I turned around because I lost it and I wanted to find it. You think I could find that spot again? But somewhere over there, it happens every time. I usually pick up some of the band ones.
Well, you would think eventually they would be able to cover that area. You know what I mean? Somehow, sometime that would eventually come into play where that would fix the coverage.
Well, my neighbors have a Verizon extender.
Oh.
So the few people, like my mother and my sister Angela, they use Verizon, they get a signal from that booster all the way across the street. So their phones aren't worthless.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? I have a house phone, and my voicemail says, if you need to reach me, call that, because they got to reach me.
Well, if you were
before I
living
wanna
up
call,
there,
you
if you
know?
were living up there full time, you'd probably get some kind. I know AT&T has that stuff too.
Something. I just, for some reason, it's harder to find it for them. But
Something.
it's such a short season, and
Yeah, it's not worth it.
yeah.
It is not worth it.
It's always good to get the routine changed once in a while, anyway.
It is true.
Yeah.
It is true.
In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
Bob and John Super Duper Variety Power Hour.
You're titillated, aren't you?
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Time to make the chimmy fucking chongas.
You can find us at Bob and John's Podcast at gmail.com, on Buzzsprout.com, and iTunes, or
Loose and Buttery on the Twitter and Instagram or Facebook Live.
and on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page at Bob and John's Super Duper Variety Power Hour. And if you want to find anything out about 151, go to 151online.com.
That's right.
Check out, we have some videos, we have some music up and everything.
Make sure you type in 151 online.
Online.com,
Right.
all one thing, right
Then
there.
you bring you right there.
Yeah.
A lot of people put the 151, and I think we couldn't use it because Bacardi had that one.
No, I just think it visually looks better. 151.
Oh, I totally agree. I was hell about the numbers.
Yeah,
I was hella my numbers only because we thought about spelling it out.
yeah. On some things we have both.
But because we get 4, some things were already taken.
Some things.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I'm not sure. I think if you just put in the numbers, I thought it was a Bacardi that thing that came up.
Well, you have to put online because otherwise you won't find us.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant between the numbers and spelling it out.
Oh no, I'm just thinking about. I could have sworn it was a Bacardi thing.
Probably is. Probably is.
What's with Google? Oh, is that supposed to be?
Well, we might as well talk about it. The eclipse.
Is that what that is about? I was like, wait a
They do
minute.
shit like that, yeah. The fucking eclipse. I'm so tired of this fucking eclipse. You know what I was doing when the eclipse came over? I was in the basement doing music shit. I had no fucking time for that shit.
You know what's strange? I always think of a total eclipse. It means it gets dark out.
You have to be in a certain range.
Right.
And you know what? Maybe I might have at least stepped outside if it was that type, if we were in that area.
Yeah.
But fuck it, I didn't see any difference just by looking out the window.
I was gonna say because I love to think about our ancestors, and when some crazy ass shit like the lights go out in the middle of the day when there's not a cloud in the sky, might freak you out. You know what I mean? A couple hundred years ago, somebody might have been freaked out. Well, maybe
A couple hundred years ago, probably a couple thousand.
Yeah, it would be a couple
years ago,
thousands
yeah.
before they started to record that.
With like Galileo and all that type of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they must have been freaked out the first time that happens. Because,
Probably.
I mean,
Well, that's how they remember anything that was scientific back in those days. They just related it to God's will or God's this or a sign or a miracle or whatever. You know what I mean? That type of a thing. Because they didn't anything they didn't understand, and because they didn't understand science back then, it was something to do with a god or some kind of god or witchcraft or something. You know, magical or something like that.
well, on the positive side, well, there's a couple good things. Because I actually got outside with some freaks that were really into it, and I had all kinds of tools.
Some freaks. Nice.
So,
Nicely put.
I got a picture. I wonder if I can get it to you and we could show it, because it's really
Oh,
funny.
you give me more fucking work. There he goes again.
It's a great one, though. Because it's like Steve has been working on these devices.
You mean not either one of our Steves?
No, different Steve.
Okay.
And the picture is sort of like him, like this. Like, only the viewers are going to be able to see this. Sorry, but it was kind of like this sort of, because he was trying to get it like so you can view it here, and it's supposed to go through a hole in this right here.
Yeah.
We got a picture of that. It was pretty funny.
Of course, they said if you just took your phone and put it into selfie mode.
That's what I was going to try.
You could do that and just look at it that way. Which
Kurt
would have been
tried
a lot
it.
easier than.
Kurt tried it, and it was too bright. You couldn't.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's like trying to take a picture of the sun.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. You can't tell it's going on. Even if, you know what I mean, if you could look and see it, you couldn't see it without some sort of protection.
I was like, I have no interest in it.
Like, you couldn't put your sunglasses and see it. You wouldn't. It was like the special glasses that one group ordered was like $5.99 for 3 or something like that. But these got astronomical prices when the event got closer.
Yeah.
I saw them online for $100. Same thing. They're like cardboard 3D glasses you get from the movie theater.
What killed me about it was, and it seems like this. You know what? Probably one of the major things that did this to me was the last election, and that is that when I look at my Twitter feed, because that's kind of my newspaper, you know what I mean? I like to, I don't tweet, but I like to read, you know, follow certain things to get information from. You know what I mean? Like AP News, you know, sports news, all that kind of music stuff, all that kind of stuff.
I just realized that Jay's my tie.
And so when I go on Facebook, I go on that, I watch any show, any news program. You know, you go on any news site or anything else. When you just get inundated with...
Why do you want that beer so bad?
Because he's thirsty, dummy.
When I got here, you were so fed up with it.
When it's non-stop, just constant shit about it.
Well, that's where
I just shut down. That's why, you know, to be honest with you,
you over news, I think. That's what it is.
yeah, but it's everywhere. You can't get away from it.
See, you do. I think you.
I want to see other news.
To know what's going on.
I like to see news, but I like to see other news.
When you bounce around, you're going to get it. You're getting it on the show.
I used to watch Vice,
Our own show.
Vice Weekly, when they came out on HBO, because it's kind of a middle of the line. They tell the news. They don't give you a position on the news like other Fox and MSN do or whatever. And but I got tired of it. I don't watch it anymore, and it sucks. I used to like to watch it nightly. It was my news, but now everything starts with fucking dickhead in the fucking White House and all this, and that's just I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. And then now it's the eclipse this week. It's like for weeks now, the eclipse. Fuck you with the eclipse. They drill stuff into your fucking head. Movies. I watch a trailer for a movie. If I'm interested, I'm either interested or I'm not. I watch the one. But they put out like 3 different trailers for a fucking movie. and then they have write-ups on it and everything. I'm like, I watched the trailer. I'm interested. I'll go see it or I'll rent it, but I don't want to hear or read, see anything else about it. I don't want spoilers. I want to watch. You know, I want to be surprised. I want to see something unfold in front of me, not get to be told ahead of time.
Well, see,
you know,
it's either you want to know or you don't.
Yeah, well, the problem is they're not giving you much of a choice sometimes with not knowing, you know?
Anyway, like I told you, what if I had known what it was all about? I would have, because I want to do some welding in the future.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to need welding goggles to do it. I would have gone, if I known that would do it,
Yeah.
I would have went and bought one, because then I would have been killing two birds with one stone.
Oh, two birds with one stone.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So I would have had a welding mask to weld things with when I get my torches, which is going to be soon. I'm telling you.
We keep hearing that one.
I
That
have
interview with Pat, that B interview with Pat's coming soon, huh?
have a plan. I have a plan for that one. But anyway, the girls that had bought them let everybody use them, of course, and everybody had a little box built because you could. Basically, the boxes are like a reflection box. Basically, you're getting a reflection. So really, you're just seeing how much of the sun's cut out. That's what you're seeing. The glasses were cool because picture welding goggles. It's real dark.
Yeah.
But it makes it was much more brilliant. Like the sun was a little bit more orangey, and you could look at it. It didn't hurt. You know, you would never see that with the naked eye.
Yeah.
Now I know why they say don't try, because you couldn't ever, and you're going to burn the shit out of your eyes. You know what I mean? So anyway, the good news for you is you can turn off your radios in 2024. You may not have any radios anymore, but that one is supposed to be a much more spectacular one for the New York area.
Yeah, it's supposed to go like right over Buffalo. I think.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a really good one. So that one, I think everybody should buckle up and be prepared.
Still probably not going to care.
I will. I mean, it's too non-regular to miss. You know what I mean? It was like somewhere in my collection of tapes, I've got a video of Halley's Comet. I got a video of it because it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You know what I mean? I like those once-in-a-lifetime events. It's pretty... But like I said, it's not necessary. I think we're going to get a more, if we're still around in 2024. I don't know if that's going to work, but
look who we have as president. It might not be.
I don't know. We might not have a choice. I might be trying to save my ass for nothing.
The orange hair orangutan might get us all blown up or something. You know.
Yeah, that's. But it could happen.
There's our.
All you got to do is lob one of them things, and you got a couple.
You lob something.
You got a couple other people. Press the button.
So there's our little eclipse. And we figured we had to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, I got out there and I participated.
Yeah.
It was fun.
You said you watched Game of Thrones already, right?
I did.
Spoilers for anybody who doesn't want to know, because
Shut it off now if you haven't seen it. And
it's been a fucking week. If you're not caught up, then turn it off or whatever.
It's almost the end of the season already.
Yeah. We didn't talk about it last week, and that was probably the best episode. No, it was 3 weeks ago was the best episode.
You know what's funny?
3 weeks ago was like the best episode when they finally let the dragons loose.
There's so much information
during one episode
that I kind of overload a little bit. Because, I mean, yes, I understand.
It's easy to miss something.
I might be drinking while I'm watching, but there are definitely...
And I said the line right before he said it when he threw that rock and it didn't go through. I went, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, fuck. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm like, oh, he screwed the pooch on that one. I knew one of those dragons. I knew one of the dragons were going to. And as soon as he went down, I said, they got a dead dragon now. And Linda was like, my wife was like, what? I'm like, they're gonna fucking resurrect that thing as part of their army, the dead.
I didn't think about it for 1 minute until I seen him dragging them out with the chains. It didn't even cover.
I knew it as soon as he went down. I'm like, they got themselves a dragon now.
I forget. That's where that bear came from.
Anything that they kill, they can turn into a fucking part of their army. So
It's fucked up.
yeah, that's like a lot of.
So I was thinking about this today, and you said, remember, with the hand, and it hadn't made it. That was the first item they tried bringing back from the north.
Oh, that was in the book. I guess that was in the book.
Was it even in the book? Was it because of it ran out of whatever, or is it because of the warmer temperature?
It sounded like they were talking about the warmer temperature, but then again, I don't know. You know,
Because
they didn't specify exactly. They kind of hinted maybe at that.
I wonder if that's what keeps them separated. But if you have a tough winter and you know it's going to be cold, they get on you.
Yeah. Well, I knew one of the dragons was going to go. I'm like, a dragon's going to die before the end of this thing. At least one, because
I thought maybe one might have been clipped by that thing. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what got me thinking. Like, once that happened, and he got nailed, but he didn't die. I'm like, they're going to get one of these dragons. It's got to be.
Oh, you have to.
Because they were making you feel, they're making you feel so much empathy for these dragons. You know, so they're making you fall in love with these dragons. You know, like they're the good guys, and they're like they're a dog or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're getting that feeling for them, and I'm like, oh, well, then killing one of them is gonna, it's gonna get the response they want.
So now the very, very end was emotional, but I don't think I heard. I should have just replayed it. Now he said something about I'd bend the knee, but well,
he could because he was
So is he basically saying now you're my queen?
Yeah, he said that.
I thought that was it, but
yeah.
But does that mean in a love way, or I work for you?
I work for you, basically. Basically, is he believes in they've kind of
They believe in each other now.
Yeah, they trust each other.
Right. You're not spewing bullshit.
Yeah, there's trust. Well, you're not going to fuck me. I'm not going to fuck you. Well, in the backstabbing way.
That at one time.
Yeah, but I told you he is a what is her? What is she? She's a
Targaryen.
Targaryen. Yeah. He's part Targaryen. Because they brought that up in a past episode that Stark is not his father. It's technically his uncle. It was his sister that is his mother. So his father was Targaryen and he's Stark. His mother is Stark. So I don't know, but
that's actually a royal mixture.
But what does that mean? Does that mean he's literally a
king?
Well, they did. When I read it further, they said that technically he's the next in line over her.
Oh,
which also means they're blood related.
Oh, so they can't.
Well, does that stop anything in this show?
That doesn't stop the other one.
That doesn't stop the other two. Right. You know what I mean? But maybe that's what they're feeling for each other is they just don't know it. Kind of like Luke and Leia.
Luke and Leia, yeah. They never understood.
They never understood there until the end of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When did Han Solo and Leia? Because that wasn't in any of the movies.
No, probably it was probably after Empire Strikes Back was when they really affirmed that they were together.
Those at some point.
What?
They already did. Those after that has been done, right?
Well, yeah,
but it didn't have those guys in it.
What do you mean?
The movies that they did, the Star Wars movies, they did 3, 4, 5.
They did 4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6.
Because I think no.
Then they did 1, 2, 3, right?
Yes.
And then
they did. Well, they just did. No, the only thing they did was 7.
7.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen that story.
Yeah, well, yes, you have.
Yeah, it's all it's past.
Han Solo's dead, and his son killed him with his son he had with Leia.
So they're not going to cover that. That's going to be in one of the offshoot movies, maybe.
No, I don't think you can cover it.
They just jumped though. It just seems like it feels to me like they jumped from.
Well, they had to jump because the age of Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
You had to make that jump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You had to make that big of a jump. So
good thing you did. Fisher got to do the one that's coming out, right?
Yeah, the one that comes out around Christmas. But that doesn't mean you can't reference that stuff. That doesn't mean you can't reference them telling a story or something and you hear about what happened. That's probably what they'll go with more.
All right. I'm sorry I got off track, but
that's all right.
Now what? Now with the now like what do you think is going to go down as far as the war?
Obviously, the whole last episode, and this is just from seeing the little teaser.
And that's not next week. We got another one more season.
Yeah, but I'm just saying for next week.
Yeah.
Obviously, that the majority of that show, if not all of it, is going to be them trying to convince Cersei and the Lannisters that we shouldn't be. We got a bigger issue. Whoever wins our war is probably going to be fucking dead from the White Walkers. So
now they know. They have that big crossbow.
Mm-hmm.
More falls into a catapult category, I think.
It's a big crossbow, basically.
Big crossbow.
Yeah.
So now they have
because
that
catapult's more of that swinging action.
And Jon Snow has the knowledge of the dragon
glass. Yeah.
It's the only way they're going to take that fucker out.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you're just talking about. There was a lot of dead.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dead in that army. You know what I mean? That's a lot of bodies.
And every dead gets converted, basically, in war with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they killed off his uncle really fast. Like swoop, save the day, die. That was like. Did that even last like 2 minutes? That scene, boom, done.
I know.
You know.
Hey, I don't understand why the Hound at one point kind of looked frozen, sort of, during that, rather than helping.
Oh, where he froze?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure on that.
I don't know what that was about.
When the bear was coming, that's what he froze.
No. The bear was on the uncle.
Yeah, when he froze.
Yeah, and he kind of just froze there.
No, that wasn't the uncle. That was that other one of those.
I lost track of.
It was one of those. It was one of those. The ones who believe in the fire and the light and all that. He was one of the guys with the flaming swords.
Oh. For some reason, that escaped me too.
Because
flaming swords seem brand new.
This is one of the things that you have to go back like 3 seasons, and they had a whole part of that season partly about it, and then they drop it for 3 seasons, and now you're supposed to remember it. That's what gets you all confused in this show.
Yeah,
like really bad. Like you're like, what?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What did he just do there?
Next week should be good though. It just sucks that it's this short. I'm kind of in the thing of like, let's just wrap this up. Let's go. Let's do the full. Let's just get her done. You know.
I've been thinking about it. It's not. You got to now. You
want the payoff. I want the payoff.
You really got to plan it too, as the
they're talking.
creators.
They're talking that they're talking that the next half of a real season or whatever, 7 episodes or 6 episodes or whatever they're going to do might not be till 2019.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. They said that's just something I read. I'm not going to say that that's positive, but I'm like, that's bullshit.
Well, the people making money always will stretch it out.
Yeah, they're waiting too fucking long though. To a certain point, it's going to bite you in the ass. Where people are just going to go, "Yeah, fuck you."
Well, that's what I was kind of going to touch base on, is sort of the jump the shark thing with the Fonz. The television industry learned from that. It's like you can't push.
Yeah, but you're also talking about a whole different animal, because
I think
you're talking about
want a short kind of run.
Well, no, it's
you know what I mean? Like a couple months.
Yeah, but you're just talking about the number of episodes that they used to churn out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Regular
Some of them
TV.
other TV shows back when we were kids, those fucking shows ran for decades. You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean like yeah? Well, look at SVU.
Thrones is the future of television.
Well, look at SVU.
It's like a TV show that's
Yeah.
way better. It's a movie television.
SVU is on its on its 19th season. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like, yeah, if you make it to 10 years, that's a huge thing for television now. You feel like Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy, they hit maybe 6, anywhere from 5 to like 8 seasons.
We have
popping out at like 8 or something.
We have length of songs that just seem to end up in this range.
Well,
6 and 7 seems to be the hot.
You know what the problem is? But you know what the problem is, though, is here's what they probably found out more. If you're doing like 2.5 Men, you can put them in like the scenarios are, you know,
every day.
You're not killing off characters to keep it interesting.
Well,
they need shock value.
They swapped Charlie out.
Oh, that wasn't their own. That wasn't of their own volition. That
Right,
was
they
'cause
didn't.
he went cuckoo. But you know what I'm saying? It's like they. You're talking about killing off major characters like Game of Thrones or the Netflix shows or any of these like Showtime, any of these movie channels. You know what I mean? You're talking about they have to get in usually you get to season 3 or 4 and you kind of need to fucking kill somebody major off to keep an interest.
Think of the list of major roles that were offed in the first 2 seasons.
Well, see, this brings up a whole other thing. There used to be called in television. They used to be what they called the Henry Blake rule, and that was MASH. When McLean Stevens,
I was trying to remember how many years did MASH run, and there was no war during some of those, right?
What do you mean? Oh no, it lasted like 5 times longer than the actual war did. It went from like I want to say it went 72, 71, 72 to like 83, 84. So yeah, that was just over 10 years.
That's good. That's a good run.
Oh, it was. Yeah, that's a good run. But after their 4th season, McLean Stevenson, who played Colonel Henry Blake, wanted out because he thought he wasn't digging the not being a star thing. And at that time, Alan Alda as Hawkeye kind of came out as really the lead. There wasn't, they always say there wasn't a lead character match, but he kind of was the heartbeat of the show.
He got other gigs too.
Yeah, but I'm saying he was the heart. He was becoming the focus on the show, no matter what. You know what I mean? And McLean Stevenson wasn't digging it, so he said he wanted out. So the writers and everything, they killed him off, and there was a huge fucking backlash to where TV shows would not, like TV shows called it the Henry Blake rule, where they were like, they don't kill major characters off.
Yeah, don't
you
do
just send them away, or they go to a different state, or they move away, or.
Well, Game of Thrones changed all that.
No, there were some shows before that. I think Sons of Anarchy was big on that. Breaking Bad.
Those are 2 popular ones that I haven't spent a lot of time with.
Oh, I loved Sons of Anarchy. That was great, and Breaking Bad was great too. Breaking Bad was awesome.
A lot of people like them. I tried both of them, but I just didn't get hooked on it.
Yeah, you gotta get past. Well, it's the same thing with Game of Thrones. Listen, you go back. See, it's hard because you can't go back and watch the first episodes because you know so much of Game of Thrones. You're hooked in already. But really, the first couple, it's confusing. There's a lot of shit going on. They're not telling you. There's a ton of characters. You can get off-put very easily, and that's what I find with TV nowadays. Is you have to hang in there. You know, I call it a 5-episode rule. That's what I have.
That's a lot.
It's what you need now. Unless you're like really irritated in the first one.
If you're going with my philosophy that you're only going to get 6 or 7. seasons?
No, but but you don't. Oh, 6 or 7 seasons? Well, yeah, but still.
Oh, you said episodes.
Episodes,
Okay, yeah,
not
okay.
seasons. No, if you're not hooked in.
You were watching a lot.
No. Like 5 episodes. I feel if you're
that's fair.
If you're, you
Slightly interested.
you have to be some kind of interested in this. Like the first one, the first episode, you have to be like, okay, all right. I don't hate it. You know what I mean? So then you got to give it to about the 5th one when they start kind of.
Why do you want that beer so bad?
Because he's thirsty, dummy.
When they kind of start really moving things along, you know what I mean? And I have kind of like a 5-episode rule, like 5 episodes in. Vikings was a big thing. I got through the first episode of Vikings 2 times, and I couldn't from months apart, like probably like 6 months in between trying it over again. Couldn't, and I would it fell short. It wasn't until we started watching it again and just ran out of things to watch. Like, okay, we'll try this again, and then by the time about the 3rd episode hit, I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, I like.
You know what I mean?
At one point, I might have liked it more than Game of Thrones, but that's not the case anymore.
But that's another one too. You gotta some of these ones you got because they're laying such a fun. That is where it's kind of movie like. Now, Marvel and Netflix have the deal, right? So they did like.
Did I tell you I watched Age of Ultron?
Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just watched it. I don't know.
Did you dig it?
Yeah, I dug it.
Oh, you didn't watch Civil War, did you? Captain America: Civil War. You got to watch
I
that.
thought I did.
Did you?
I thought so.
Did you? I don't know if you did or not.
There's only 2, right?
3 Captain Americas.
Oh, so if it's the 3rd, I probably didn't.
Yeah, the 2nd was Winter Soldier.
I think I got it.
Civil War. That's when Civil War is like a mini Avengers movie. There's so many. All the Avengers are in it. You got to watch that for sure. And we did watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which you actually sat through the whole thing, which I was surprised. You
I
didn't sit
had
through the
some
movie.
good laughs.
Oh, you were laughing your ass off.
That guy's funny.
Batista, yeah, you're having fun with Batista there. He was funny in that one. But anyway,
That's gotta be so embarrassing.
yeah.
Do me next. Do me.
Marvel has their thing with Netflix where they've done Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist and stuff. They've done these shows on Netflix, Marvel has. And they've been overly, I think, overall, I know some of them have gotten panned, but they've been really good. But the one thing they put out this last weekend one called The Defenders. And that was all 4 of the characters from those series together in an 8-episode little series called The Defenders. Yeah, called The Defenders.
I think I saw that out there. Yeah.
And it was really good. It was really good, but I noticed they seem to have as they go along, whoever writes them and directs them seems to have a problem with pacing. And I think that's what everybody's gripe is that it takes so long to get, like, they didn't even get all these guys. They only have 8 episodes. They didn't even get them all together till like the end of the 3rd episode. It was
So
like,
many people.
you could have taken that down. Well, listen,
want to binge watch.
yeah. Listen. Usually, I'm a big fan of stretch it out and give me a lot more story and backstory. I like that. I like to take my time with it. You don't need to. I just don't know.
Sip it slowly.
I dislike when a movie suddenly goes from A to B in like 5 minutes, and you're like, it just feels like it feels like you jammed everything in. I don't like that, but I have to admit, the Marvel shows on Netflix are getting a little. I think they need to shorten them up. Like they could take like the foundation they're laying in the first couple episodes and make that 1 episode. It's getting a little too long. You know what I mean? It's like, one show.
Attention span is only so big.
Well, yeah, but it just gets like you're almost repeating the same thing. You know what I mean? In the first 2 episodes, you're like recapping almost. It's like it's different people saying different things, or the same thing.
I just realized because I just ordered some new flip flops. Because I get a pair every year, but they've been enduring, so I hadn't even been thinking about that. But I'm going to get some for Italy. and I just wanted to show the artwork on the bottom because when I was looking for new ones. And by the way, in case you can't realize it, I'm sure you can't because we don't have a black light up. If we turned all the lights off, it glows in the dark. So these are killer flip-flops I've been wearing like forever. And I never, ever get to see, and you talking about Marvel made me think about it. There's some flip-flops with like Marvel
everything,
stuff
yeah.
and everything. And I was like, well, those are cool, but I'm not into it. I could get Star Wars. Those are cool.
Yeah.
But then I got really thinking about it.
I'm
and
not
I'm like,
5. I don't.
when's the last time anybody saw that part of my flip-flop? Rarely.
I
My
guess
feet are
I
all
guess
the
it's just
time.
entertaining yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I wanted to share that.
Me and the wife started watching the. I've heard about this series forever. You just keep hearing it's one of the best shows ever, The Wire on HBO. And so I was like, we were kind of hit that part of the summer where I'm like, we need something to watch. You know what I mean? So we started watching The Wire, and it sucked us in big time.
I just got this idea. Because it's greenish, I wonder if it'll look like it.
I don't think so. It's not that green. It's a different shade. Remember, we learned the different shades of green don't.
So The Wire, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we just got hooked into that, and it's like, damn, this is good. You know what I mean?
Now, how many seasons are there of it available
5.
for viewing? So you're not
5.
far behind. You can catch up.
No, I think it started in like 2001 or something.
I've
and
heard
went-
things about it.
It's good. It's good. It's definitely a lot of well-known actors came out of it and were in it.
Just like pop in and stuff.
No, they were like major characters in it. You know the movie that's on now, The Dark Tower.
Yep.
The black guy, Idris Elba. He's like one of the main drug dealers in
He's a
it.
busy guy.
Well, this was back in 2001, but yeah. Well, he also does a detective show on the BBC.
He's not the Cage. I thought it was a Marvel.
No. Well, he is. He's in Thor.
I knew I recognized him from a recent thing.
He's in the Thor movies. He's the one that did the bridge. Always put the thing in the thing and opened up the whatever bridge to
yes,
the.
yes.
That's him. But he's been in a shit ton of movies and stuff. Yeah, he has been a busy guy, and he has a show called Luther on the BBC where he plays a British detective in London because he's English. He's actually English, even though he's never played
Cool
English.
accent in real life.
An English accent, yeah.
I like that. I like that those bitches can come over here. No, it's better to call them cunts, isn't it? It's the only time
You said it, I didn't.
I think it's great, though.
There seems to have been a misunderstanding about what kind of boat guys we're going to be.
I love the film over there use that shit. Because we can't use it here. It's not cool.
I saw one black comedian actor, and he was on a talk show, and he was just like, yeah, he goes, you see all these white actors and actresses come over, and they're playing Americans. You're like, damn, that's good. Well, that'll never happen. There'll never be any brothers over here, English brothers and everything like that. He goes, then you see The Wire, and you see that half of them are English. You're like, God damn, they're coming and taking our jobs too. We thought we had that safe. Damn it. 'Cause I don't think, other than we watched some of Luther, and it was pretty good. You could tell it's definitely an English TV show, like BBC, but still pretty good. But I don't think I've ever seen him with anything with an English accent before.
No, that's what I was wondering. I
Yeah.
haven't.
He's been in a lot of stuff the last like 5, 10,
I like that accent.
10 years.
I can't help but get sucked into like history stuff. That's where you wrote something down a long time ago. I never even looked at it. Our communication skills have broken down today. Oh well, hey. It depends if people want to keep listening. Because
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I wanted to go. I still didn't get to see it. Probably not going to end up seeing it until it's available to rent. But Dunkirk, I was really interested in seeing.
I just watched. I thought about our timeline. We started years and years.
We started. We'll never finish. But
And I don't know. I don't want to speak for you. You can speak for yourself. I feel like you're really looking for a little bit more current history. Like you like I
you mean
think
the
you
20th
like
century?
I like, you like the U.S. history, but you do like World War information too.
No, I like also.
Where I really dig into the prehistoric.
You like to go. You like to go beyond recorded time.
Right. That's what I want to know.
And I don't have any interest in that because there's no answers. There's no answers. There's no concrete answers that are even written down, or anything.
I want as much
what I mean?
proof.
No, listen. I find Roman times very interesting and all that and
Atlantis.
Is that real? No,
it's real. Well, no. In your world, it's not real because there's no scientific evidence that.
Well, it's just like King Arthur. I mean, people say there was somebody named Arthur who was supposedly a Roman soldier who the myth and the legend, became. He was a Roman soldier that was really a Briton who was born a Briton, but became a Roman soldier. You know what I mean? And there's that, but they say that might be the origin of where it came out. But there's no King Arthur is pretty much fable. You know what I mean? As much as Robin Hood is.
My favorite show this weekend was on the migration, human history, and I'm always down with that.
I get interested in a lot of world history, but we live in this country, so a lot of it, this year,
the Native American people had always said that they've always been here, and nobody could explain that.
Not everybody's just there,
Exactly. Right. You don't just appear.
Yeah.
So there's got to be. Now, they found these Native American bones, child, and they were able to collect data, the DNA, which is very difficult apparently. If you don't have more current tissue that hasn't been changed, and you know what I mean, it's easier. So it's difficult to get DNA from these. But now the show was trying to explain that they disproved the fact that everybody came from Africa because Native Americans don't believe that. They say
I don't know why.
This is where we came from.
What's the proof of that everybody came from Africa? What's that proof? I don't know.
Those are where the oldest skeletons have been found.
So that's just taking a scientific guess, but no 100% knowledge. Not concrete in their finding.
Right. There's a definite difference between Neanderthal and Homo sapien. And Homo sapien came from Africa, moved up that continent.
Okay.
Now the question is the up Bering Sea. They say at some time was either crossable by ice or crossable by land because the water.
But wasn't all. So you're talking after the one big mass.
That was my original belief.
Became the separate continents.
And it scurried over there and then broke apart. I don't think it goes that far back.
Okay.
Our history. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely something with a migration happening. So up and around is what everybody thinks, but there's lots of evidence that some crossed the Pacific, which is the biggest piece of ocean to cross. And basically, the suggestions are Polynesian, who hit all those islands. They get to an island, populate, move a little farther. They actually were in South America first. This shows, and their evidence was sweet potatoes. And there was one other one. I forgot what the other one. But sweet potatoes only were, I think, in South America, but not down in the Polynesian chain. And they found some Polynesian skeletons, South America, and found sweet potatoes moved that direction. So there was some. Hey, I'm not saying anything was
we'll
given.
never have.
It was an interesting show. Game of Thrones isn't real either, but we enjoy it.
Sometimes I think sometimes it's just because I was alive in the 20th century, There were people. Listen, when we were
need to
kids,
know the stuff I don't know.
when we were kids, there were still alive, living people that were links to World War I that were alive and had gone through that and everything. So sometimes I think that is more interesting to me because we're so.
That was another one I watched, and there was a living vet on the beach, and it wasn't D-Day, but it was around that time, and it was castles. That's how I got into it. Britain's most closest Duban, the closest point, Britain and France.
I don't know.
It's the shortest distance in water, and Britain has a huge fortress there.
It's the English Channel.
Yeah. And they have a huge fortress there that's been like re-fortified over years. Every time there was nuclear weapon, now they made more underground stuff.
Yeah.
All kinds of. I mean, it's a castle from Middle Ages that has barely been even contested, considering to take over Britain. That's the spot right there.
Yeah.
And the part with the vet was Britain evacuated their troops from France when the Nazis.
That's Dunkirk.
400,000 men.
That's Dunkirk.
Like 50,000.
That's literally what the movie Dunkirk is about.
Amazing.
About them getting those. They were literally civilians with any kind of motor craft. Was out there getting
fishing
these
boats.
Well, because that was their army. If the Germans had gotten a hold of them, war over.
Yeah.
You know, they would have made an easy run into England. Yeah. So that's what the movie Dunkirk is all about, because that was Dunkirk Island, I think it was.
They had a survivor on this show.
Oh yeah,
and they brought him to the beach, and it was a
well, in a weird way, because you think like, oh, you're only a few generations removed. In my case, my parents were born in 1925, so my grandparents were born in the late 1800s. So that's like, I feel like I'm even closer to like even the Civil War. You feel like, well, that's only 3 generations for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that makes you feel a little bit like, oh, that's kind of, you think about that, you're like, whoa, you know what I mean? That's only like, I could have gotten stories that were a lot less, a lot less
watered down,
manipulated, or whatever, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
To some of that stuff, you know what I mean?
From the source.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my problem is by the time I was interested in asking any questions, they're all fucking dead. So it's like that's the only problem with that for me. It's like, well, now I got questions, but nobody's there to answer them. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, I had some questions because I think it's because it I don't know if the word's fascinating, but it must have just been a.
Was your dad in the military?
No, he.
I thought I remember seeing a picture. He was in some kind of.
Nope, he didn't pass. No, he didn't pass. My father didn't pass the physical. He did go down for World War II. Went down because that was the thing you did. You didn't wait to get drafted in World War II. You went, volunteered.
Yeah.
So he went down, did the volunteer, and his allergies he didn't stand a chance. He knew he didn't stand a chance, but it was the thing you had to go do it.
Gotta go
before. Yeah, that was the thing to do, or else you'd, be walking around with that mark.
Shane.
People look at you. Yeah, Shane. Shane. Yeah. Art got called for Vietnam. And I do believe he went down, my oldest brother, he went down and did the physical, and I think he failed his physical also.
He's a pilot. He's got to be able to pass.
Yeah, but they're big with allergies because you're outside, you're in, you know what I mean?
In the elements.
Yeah, you're in the elements. I think he did allergen. I think he also got marked for flat feet.
Yeah, well, hey,
which is a huge thing when you're walking a lot.
Somebody sneezing can get you killed.
Yeah, they can. Like this year.
Will you stop? I can't.
Yeah. And see, you would have sneezed, you would have given away your position, and you would have been hobbled because you would have.
I would have needed medical.
You'd have been all fucked up. This year's been World War I for me because you and
Linda.
No, that's like World War 30,325. I've done, obviously, when we grew up, we had got inundated with Vietnam movies because that was, right at the time when we were born. So we get a lot of that. So I've done the whole Vietnam thing. Watching MASH and learning about the Korean War, I've done a lot of that. World War II, obviously, because, it was huge, so huge, World War I, this year, I was just like, actually, it was PBS had like this 4-thing special on World War I. I was just like, yeah, you know what? I don't know as much as I feel like I should for about World War I. You know what I mean?
Every time I watch this, I learn something more.
Oh, yeah, totally dug into that. And then on Amazon Prime, they had like a 10 episode thing that went really in depth. Like, you don't realize how World War I even encompassed touched about everybody on the planet.
That's how
you know what I mean.
World Wars get going.
Well, no, it's just not that. It's because, especially World War I, France, even Germany, but especially England and France had colonies. You know what I mean? They were colonies, so they had India was still under British rule. Germany had some part of Africa. So did France. France had a big portion of Africa. So they had all these. They were using these other countries that are under their rule to help fight in those areas, the Germans and so on and so forth. In World War II, the Germans, the Austrians, the Hungary, and it was just fascinating. To me, it was just fascinating getting into the whole, the whole thing. And one thing I didn't know is I didn't realize that Serbia was basically the one that started World War I by assassinating something Ferdinand. I forgot his title. Whatever Ferdinand of Austria. You know what I mean? It started. So basically, the World War I started between Serbia and Austria/Hungary. They were one, Austria-Hungary. So that's what World War I started. That's how that whole thing started.
Those two bitches up there?
Yeah, Serbia. Yeah.
Well, because then Russia's got to be involved.
Russia being Slavic, and so the Serbians, they came in on Serbia's side. Germany went in with Austria. You know what I mean? And then pretty much about halfway through, Austria just lost so many men and so much. They were losing so much that it really became Germany's war at that point. You know what I mean? It really became Germany's war. France had an alliance with Russia that said if Russia's enemies are our enemies, so France got drawn in. They had to attack Germany at that point because they're like, well, fuck it, we wrote that paper, son of a bitch. We got to, and that it took England a little bit. They didn't jump right in. They were like, oh shit, we ain't got no alliance. We didn't sign a paper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then they saw it coming. Germany was getting in. They got pretty close to Paris. Not like Hitler did, where he took over all of France, but they didn't invade Paris, but they got close. They bombed. They fucked up Paris quite a bit with cannons and stuff like that. Mortar, huge cannons and shit. But then England was saying, well, we got to get in on this side because otherwise it's going to come across. It's going to get us eventually.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
You know what I mean? It took the U.S. quite a bit. Actually, it took Germany sinking and just really pissing off the United States with sinking some cruise lines and stuff like that to be like, you fucked with us, fuck you, you know what I mean? To get full blown in on it. But the thing that's fascinating about the whole thing was you've got these countries, all these countries in the world at that time that had the big militaries like Germany and Austria-Hungary and not even the United States, but England and France, and they've been building for like 15 years at that point all these spectacular weapons. They never used them. They didn't use them for like 15 years. So they didn't use them. So now they're like, well, war, we're going to use them. But the problem is both sides had no clue the damage they could really do with them, on top of they were using outdated tactics that were so old that you couldn't use them again. They had to learn new tactics against those weapons. So that's where the trench warfare came in, because all of a sudden, it's not. You know what I mean? No. Yeah, now it's. And one guy with a machine gun is mowing down fucking hundreds of. You got 50 people coming at you, and you're taking out 50 people with one gun. You know what I mean? When that kind of technology meets up, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? That's why so many people died during World War I, is because they just we'll just keep throwing waves of people at you. You know what I mean? It didn't work.
That's why it's scary if we get into it.
And yeah, it is. And then of course, Germany got into the whole mustard gas and all that kind of stuff.
There's worse.
Which was like, you drop it, and if the wind blows right, maybe you don't get it back on your own troops.
Hitler got gassed.
That's why he wouldn't use it, because he felt the true effects of what that shit is. That's nasty shit. That is truly nasty shit. Yeah, but it's just amazing. Like, I don't know. It would, to me, it's the whole thing of it was just like truly amazing, and just really, you get the understanding of how horrific it was. Just crazy horrific.
I'd prefer not to see war.
Yeah, well, you realize like these asshole Nazi guys in Charlottesville and stuff like that. I'm like, you have no fucking clue
where they come from.
You fucking you're just you're dumb asses, and you don't have any fucking clue.
How come we haven't heard about it like more? If they're just lurking around,
because they're
big
just
groups still.
They're inbred morons, is what they are. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like you have no fucking clue. What people went through in this country over to another war. And fought against that.
Who are pulling all those statues down?
Well, that's more of the liberals. Listen, I don't know who exactly it is. Obviously, they're on the more of the liberal side than the right wing side. You know what I mean?
I thought that sounded a little more right to me. Sort of like, hey, no, we're.
Well, here's two things. Here's two things that are fucked up. Okay, two things are fucked up. The Democrats were actually the pro-slave party.
Oh yeah,
back then. Yeah,
that doesn't seem right.
Southern Democrat.
I believe you.
Well, number one is Lincoln was a Republican. The Republicans were the one that were against slavery. The Southern Democrats were the ones that didn't want to end slavery.
Oh well, anybody from the South didn't want that shit to end.
But the problem is the South at that time was very heavily Democratic, very heavily.
That's funny to me, but
it's a weird thing that things that shows you the political landscape can shift. I mean, you're talking hundreds of years now from that,
sure.
But that's crazy. So, like. Most of these monuments were all put up during what they call the Jim Crow era, which was after the Civil War. Basically, it was the South saying, you can take all this shit away from us, but fuck it if we're not going to put up these we still think these guys are
heroes.
Yeah. And which I don't get, because I'm just like, you lost the war. Why do you get to put up monuments? No, you don't. You lost. You don't get to put up monuments. Robert E. Lee was against slavery, was not a slave owner. He was offered by Lincoln to lead the Union Army. The only reason he didn't is because of his dedication to his state of Virginia. So, but
which was Democratic,
which succeeded. Southern succeeded from the Union, and it's like, okay. I get that. He was a great guy. He really didn't have anything to do with slavery and everything, but he picked the wrong side. He don't get no statues. You know what I mean? Winners usually get the statues, not the guys who come. You know what I mean?
I think my philosophy on it is, how many years have these been there?
Since after the Civil War.
Now they're monuments. I mean, whether we like it or not, there's
a part of me that says, listen. There is a part of me that says, yeah, it's a part of history. Number one
I think
is
it's strange how many of them there are.
Considering they lost. Yeah. Even up north, there's like ones that you'll run into. It's like, what the fuck? that's the other problem I have, where I'm kind of torn. Like, yeah, okay, I get it. They want to pull them down. I get it. They shouldn't have had the monuments to begin with because they lost.
That's different. Yeah.
And the third thing is, to me, but the third thing is like, I don't want to whitewash history.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because then you're just going to repeat everything. You go over to Germany, they still have concentration camps in Germany and Austria and stuff. And they have things literally in Berlin on the street of like names of people who died during the war in the concentration camps and stuff like that for constant reminders. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to remember.
And yeah,
the things that worked and the things that
yeah. Listen, every country on this planet has done atrocities to people in their own countries and things they shouldn't have. You know what I mean? So when everybody points the finger at the United States, well, yeah, we did bad things, but you don't understand. We're trying to have learned from it. Right. You know what I mean?
Trying to move forward.
Yeah, we're trying to move forward and trying. You know, you get some people to be like, some people are like, well, black people just had to get over it. It was hundreds of years ago. That's hard to say when you got a black guy running away from a cop with no gun. He doesn't have a gun, and the cop unloads into his back and kills him. It's kind of hard to have an argument here. You know what I mean?
I watched a video the other day.
It's kind of hard to have an argument.
Black cop and his camp on
the video
camera.
Yeah.
Showed him he had a taser. It wasn't even his gun. Taser. And he's walking up to this black man. He's got his hand in his pocket. So he's just like, take your hands out of your pocket, you know, and it escalates. Take your hands out of your pocket, I'm going to tase you. Next thing you know, the guy pulls out, he's got a gun, he shot the cop like 3 times. Both sides, very difficult. You know what I mean? Bad things can happen.
Well, see, that's a little bit more like, that's a little bit more understandable. Some of these videos of like, you know, that one, I can't remember where it was. It was down south. I thought it was Carolina. Maybe it was or something. I don't remember. It was last year.
I think South Carolina would have been the place for the eclipse.
When they showed that was the end of it. Yeah, we're the end of it in this country anyway. They showed the guy on video. He's running away. And then the guy the cop unloads his clip into his back.
Now that's fucked up.
It's fucked up. Yeah. It's beyond fucked up. You know what I mean? And then I think the cop got off too.
I wonder how much of that shit has happened that we never even heard about.
Oh, probably.
Because now it's so everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, but then this shit's been going on for years.
But then again, I would have understood if the cop had taken action against the one you were discussing. You know, he's got his thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right to shoot the guy.
Yeah,
but he was trying to do the right thing.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. See, the problem is
tough world we live in.
Yeah, and it's just not. It hasn't been helping the last 2 years that all these terrible decisions by probably people that shouldn't be police, because there are good police out there. Yeah. That just are just all over the place, and of course now everything is instantly in the headlines because it's like it's a millisecond world now. Now it's like shoot video, boom, it's up on the thing.
We'll see you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's do this quickly. McGregor, Merriweather this weekend. Who you got? Fight is this weekend.
I know. Which is good because I'll be at a wedding, so there's no reason to even think that I should pay per view, which you know I'm too cheap to do it anyway.
Somebody will be talking about. There'll be buzz.
I'm torn with the length of time. I don't know how patient McGregor can be. That's what.
So you think it'll get his ass knocked out possibly by trying to be over?
No, I'm not saying that. My gut says it's going to be a long match, but part of me says McGregor is not that. He's not a boxer. He's not going to pussyfoot around.
Yeah.
So he's either going to get aggressive and do some damage, or he's going to get aggressive and open himself up to somebody who knows how to strike when the openings are there. So I'm kind of torn. I have to make a decision. I think because you have to play by the rules, I have to go with Mayweather.
Yeah, I mean, you would think in a boxing match Mayweather should take it, but I just, you know what?
I want McGregor. All right,
I want it to at least be a good boxing match.
I want
it to be a good match.
Even if he could do it quickly, slowly, or anything, I want McGregor.
Yeah.
But I feel like
Mayweather
by the rules, and there's people watching you to make sure.
Where they sit there and say Mayweather's old, yeah, but that means he's experienced a lot.
He's been through a long round.
Yeah, and
he's
also a patient fighter too. So that's
what I think it's going to come down to. I don't think McGregor's going to have the patience.
Yeah.
That's my decision.
Unless he completely overwhelms Mayweather, I don't know. You know, it's going to be fun to see. It's going to be fun to see.
We'll see it eventually.
Hell yeah.
For sure. We'll watch that.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Time to make the chimmy fucking chongas.
We haven't gone this long in a long time. Buck 30.
I told you when we started, I was in a talkative mood today. I was just kind of feeling it.
You can find us at Bob and
Sorry if I bored anybody.
You can find us at Bob and John's Podcast at gmail.com, on Buzzsprout.com, and iTunes, or
at Loose End Buttery on the Twitter and Instagram or Facebook Live.
On our YouTube channel and our Facebook page at
Sounds like you have a dick in your mouth.
And on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page at Bob and John's Super Duper Variety Power Hour. John, what'd you learn? What'd you learn, John?
That my metrics tell me I have to go against my heart and go with Mayweather.
And I learned that John would wear flip-flops on a plane and not give a rat's ass.
I really would. I really would.
And that's it.
Thanks for joining.
That's all, folks.
Say goodnight, John.
Good night, John.
Stadler?
Yeah, what?
Is that it?
Yes, it's over. How'd you like it?
I don't know. I slept through the whole thing.
Well, you didn't miss much.
You bet your ass.